Hello students, in Studies in Theatre MOOC program, today we are going to discuss sound design. Sound is an important component of performance. Sound is an important component of staging. You are listening to me and you can see how important it is for sound to be good. Maybe in some of my lectures the sound has been very good. In some of the lectures the sound has not been that good because of different reasons. So you can see how listening when listening leads to understanding of the performance. Listening becomes the medium that where our visual images, what we see, is aided by sound, its meaning, and then the whole viewing becomes complete experience. So today's lecture will focus on some of the important aspects of sound design. So it is a crucial aspect of creating immersive and engaging theatrical experience for the audience. It involves the careful selection, creation and manipulation of sound, because sound is not just something which you make audience listen to in its bare form. You create with it, you create it and then you manipulate it, and different kinds of manipulations can be done. And what does it lead to? It enhances the storytelling, atmosphere and emotional impact of a production. Some of the points that you can consider as features are, how it impacts the setting and the mood of the atmosphere. Because sound design plays a key role in establishing mood. When you select appropriate music, ambient sounds and sound effects, then sound designers can transport the audience to different times, places and emotional states. Whether it's the bustling streets of a city, the tranquil sounds of nature, or the eerie silence of a haunted house, sound design helps to create a sensory experience that complements the visual and narrative elements of the production. So as you could see how I was modulating my voice in order to make you feel what the words meant, this is the role of sound. So sound design helps to create a sense of realism and authenticity in theatrical productions. By incorporating realistic sound effects such as footsteps, door creaks, or rain, sound designers can enhance the believability of the onstage action and immerse the audience in the world of the play. This attention to detail adds depth and texture to the overall theatrical experience, making it more engaging and believable for the audience. Enhancing emotional impact. That is another role that sound plays, because sound design has the power to evoke emotions and heighten the dramatic impact of a production. By carefully selecting music, sound effects and sonic textures, sound designers can enhance the emotional resonance of a key moment in the play, such as suspenseful scenes, romantic interludes or dramatic climaxes. The use of sound can evoke a wide range of emotions, from joy and laughter to fear and sadness. This helps to connect the audience with the characters and themes of the play on a very deeper level. Then in addition to this, sound design also helps to establish transitions between the scenes, from one scene to the other, and the pace of the production, within the production. So through the use of music, sound effects and ambient sounds, sound designers can signal changes in time, location, mood, helping to guide the audience through the narrative arc of the play. Sound cues can also help to maintain momentum and rhythm within the production, ensuring smooth transitions between the scenes and keeping the audience engaged throughout the performance. So this is, for transition, one from one scene to the other, the sound takes you forward and that change is visible. It helps in the artistic representation. The sound design can be a very symbolic thing also, because sound has a language of symbolism, and it helps in subtext within a theatre production. By incorporating the subtle auditory cues, motifs, or themes, sound designers can enhance the thematic depth and complexity of the play, adding layers of meaning that audience gets connected to. So, whether it's a recurring motif of a musical theme, the use of symbolic sounds, or the manipulation of sonic textures, sound design can enrich the storytelling and deepen the audience's interpretation of the play. So, it helps in interpretation also. Then, sound also is something that is adding to the beauty, because it collaborates with other design elements like the set design, costume design, light design. So it creates a cohesive and unified theatrical experience. Sound designers collaborate closely with the directors, playwrights, and other members of the creative team to ensure that the sound design complements and enhances the overall vision of the production. This collaborative process involves experimentation, iteration, and creative problem solving to achieve the desired artistic effect. So overall, this is and how you generate noise, how you generate very soothing sounds, how the sound is clear, effective, that all makes the viewing of a play very, very different. So sound design includes what? It includes essential components like speakers, microphones, and mixers. Sound mixers. The proper positioning of tuning of speakers of systems is important, because if you place it in a certain position where it's not audible, or it is too loud, or the sound is not coming on to the people in the right proportion, then all this is to be kept in mind. Directionality, determined by the position and tuning, influences where sound originates and its intelligibility. So where do you keep sound? Suppose there is a sound of a roaring animal and you keep it at the back of the stage. From there, if people listen to that sound and the animal is on the stage, so it will create a confusion. If you have not intended that confusion, then it is the wrong directionality. Each element of a theatre sound system must work seamlessly. All these systems must be woven into each other. They must have a connection. If they are, broken with each other, they don't have a connection, then this will lead to a very bad experience of sound. And sound generally, gets ignored. And it is a very tricky kind of a thing, because sometimes glitches develop during the during the staging, and you cannot resolve them very quickly. Also, these days, with a lot of technical intervention, one has to be very careful about things. Sound designers, therefore, are very important. What is the use of speaking the dialogues when dialogues are not audible to people? So this is very as plain as simple as that to be understood. So they are important in selecting equipment necessary for a particular production. All productions will not need the same kind of speakers, same kinds of mixers. There has to be difference between the different kinds of technology required on the basis of the type of production. The sound designer's choices directly impact the audience's experience and the success of the play. In the earlier times, when there were no mics, no electricity, and the theatre people were supposed to communicate and reach out to the last sitting audience with the help of the voice that they had, just by speaking it as loud as possible. In that time, a proper training was given to the theatre artists, to the actors, to raise their voices loud without cracking, without appearing hoarse, without roughness. And that was with the help of practice. So earlier, the acoustics were used in such a way, the construction of theatre was done in such a way then it would lead to amplification of the sound that was created in the well of the auditorium. That was, the stage. And if you look at the face of the amphitheaters, then amphitheater is in cylindrical form, rather an inverted conical form, and there is a lot of echo in amphitheater, and that echoing lets the voice of the actors remain in that space. That voice does not go everywhere in every direction, despite the fact that it is an open air theater. So these things had already entered in our mind, even though the technology was not very advanced as compared to now. But it's the basic experience of not being able to listen, being able to listen to it clearly, makes you push for a better arrangement. And that's how technology develops. That's how we start innovations in the form of constructing theaters or having some acoustic support in theater by echoing or other kinds of things. So moving on, we can see that this is, a list of steps and signal flow of audio sources and their points of manipulation in musical theater. So there is sound reinforcement and sound design. So the voices, instruments, other live elements, they include microphones, that it goes to mixers, then speakers of processing, that is there, then loudspeakers, then room acoustics, and then it reaches to the audience. So sound designing is connected to specifying, acquiring and generating audio of elements, manipulation of audio elements into the final form that the audience will hear. That what will audience hear ultimately? How will it sound to them? The voice that has been traveling through various mediums, through microphone, through loudspeakers, through mixers, how will it sound to them? So this is all that, and then audio playback computer. So these are the steps and signal flow of audio sources and their points of manipulation. So at these points, the sound is manipulated, intervened, and made appropriate for a particular kind of representation on the stage and to reach it out to the audience. Because there is one more dimension that I must add here, and that is the sound is also heard by the actors. And when an actor is performing, actor is not just listening to others' voices, but an actor also gets to listen to her voice in especially the modern time frame, because now we have the amplified voice available. So if you talk to performers who are professionally working on stage, either in singing or acting, they listen to their own voice, which when it comes back to them through that medium which has been used for the audience. And when they listen to this voice, they are trained into listening to it and adjusting to the right method. So and some of the actors also use this voice of their own or other actors to modify their acting. It gives an impetus or a motivation to them to act. So sound has various roles. At various dimensions it is participating in the entire process of production. Now, other importance of sound design in theatre are, for example, narrative enhancement. Now, what is narrative enhancement? Suppose you are telling a story, and that story is about a forest. How will you create the impact of forest? If you just keep some plants and trees taken out in some pots or carved out from cardboards and wood, that will be only for visuals. But the moment you add sound to it, those visual pieces, they transform into real. To what? To a certain extent. For the audience, the whole experience becomes complete. That they can see this is a tree, this is a stage full of trees and plants, lot of wild plants are there, and now there is some sound of animals, there is some noise of jungle, and the picture becomes complete, the experience becomes complete. So they start feeling, they are transported into that forest. So it, when the storytelling gets enhanced, so it enhances the context, it adds an atmosphere. Then in addition to that, another narrative enhancement that is done with the help of sound is that it adds layers to the narrative through sound effects, music and actor generated sounds. What is the meaning of layers here? Layers means that if you are, for example, there is a conversation which is happening between two characters on stage, and this is a satirical conversation. This is sarcastic conversation. In this sarcastic conversation, you are simply listening to dialogues. But if there is some music, then a layer of meaning is added. If there is a music which underlines the element of satire in that particular dialogue, then a layer of meaning is added. So sound effects, music and actors' sounds, all these sounds collaboratively enhance the layers of narrative. It's not just about clarity of sound or checking the sound, it's also this artistic function of the sounds in the theatre. Then diegetic and non-diegetic sounds contribute to the narrative structure, as I already told you about that. Now physical space and immersion. Sound creates immersive environments by complementing visual cues, enhances realism by matching sounds with physical actions, helps in establishing the setting and ambience of a scene. Suppose you are throwing a very big boulder, or let us say a big stack of wood on the stage. The sound that is created will be listened to by only few audience members sitting in front rows, maybe first row, second row, third row. But that will not reach to the audience sitting at the back. So for them, this throwing of the big stack of wood that you have in your hand will be lost. They will wait for dialogue to follow. The impact of this throwing, this has to have a sound, has to be created through a sound. Look at another example. In the doll's house, when Nora leaves the house at the end of the play, she bangs the door shut and leaves her house. Now, if that banging would not be heard by all the people present in that auditorium, what is the point in banging it? Because that banging is very symbolic. That banging is layered. That's what it says, the layering. There is a layer in that banging because she is sending out a message of liberation, emancipation for women from so many kinds of shackles of patriarchy. And then her banging of that door is physical action. If there is no sound available to it, it will not appear to be a complete action to people for whom the sound has not reached. So, in all ways, a sound must be there, that banging must be there, only then, the play will have that impact on the audience. So that is the role of sound. Emotional impact. Going back to the same example of Nora's banging, as it is said that Nora's banging of that door kept echoing for the entire century. She banged that door and that banging echoed for an entire century. What does it mean? Does it mean that the sound was repeated in other productions? No. The emotional impact that it created on the audience, and it created their own memories of the similar kinds of things, that is leading to a philosophical and intellectual narrative being developed about the action of Nora, and therefore the echoes could be heard in different time frames even when the play was done and dusted 100 years ago. So this music, sound, they create emotional responses. People start crying, people start laughing, people start clapping, people become scared, frightened, angry, agitated because of sounds. Also because of the actions that are visible, but because of sounds as well. So it adds depth and realism to the scenes. It allows audience to suspend disbelief. Okay? They forget their disbelief, that they are lost in this make-believe of the play, make-believe on the stage. So sound makes audience believe to see what is on stage, not with disbelief, but with belief. Musicality and pacing is also one of the attributes that the sound adds to a play. Because sounds have inherent musical qualities that affect pacing and mood. If you are happy, a little music will help. If you are sad, little music will convey it more. If there is tension, a little music piece will add more value to it. Pace of the play is also expressed through that. So rhythmic sequences created by sound design influence audience engagement, and it also helps in conveying emotional and signaling changes in the scene dynamics. Now, the categories of sound design are various. The input devices include microphones, audio players, and musical instruments. Microphones convert acoustic signals into electrical signals for process and amplification. Audio players like CD players also convert audio into electrical signals for the sound system. So there are various kinds of microphones like condenser microphones, which is versatile in size and suitable for vital sound reinforcement applications due to high sensitivity and wide frequency response. Then there are dynamic microphones, durable and capable of handling loud noise sources due to their response to high sound pressure levels. So these are the category of sound design. You can see this picture that is aiding you to understand what is written here. In addition to this, there are sound system mixers. Mixers combine and adjust input signals for volume and output. Channel grouping allows for combining multiple inputs into separate groups, such as separating musical instrument from vocals. So you need different kinds of mixers for different kinds of sound. You cannot have just one kind of music arrangement for all sounds. If it is spoken sound, different music arrangement is a different sound arrangement is there. If musical instruments are to be amplified, you need different sound arrangement, and therefore the different mixers. So there are digital mixers, sample analog sound waves, and they convert them into numerical sequences and accommodate many input channels. They offer remote control capabilities. Then you have analog mixers. They manage various sound reinforcements applications with simple signal flow but lack flexibility and onboard signal processing. Then another mixer is powered mixers, which combine mixer and power amplifier functions, and they are suitable for portable usage. Then you have line mixers, which combine multiple sound sources into single output, various sources into single output with additional channels for other devices. So these are the things, different kinds of mixers available. Then amplification. How does amplification take place? The mixer or signal processor connects to an amplifier. The amplifier increases the volume of processed audio to power the speakers. Amplifiers handle high voltage and current. They usually have two audio output channels, but this can vary depending on the system's needs. When choosing an amplifier, consider its root mean square rating, which indicates the consistent power output. So, if RMS rating is known to you, on the basis of RMS rating, you can choose which amplifier is useful for your purpose. Speakers have a program power rating indicating the power they need. How much power is used for every speaker, so they have that power rating. It is recommended to select an amplifier with a slightly higher power rating than the speakers to allow for peaks in the audio without distortion. So if your voice is going high, so audio will not be distorted if you are taking a high power rating speaker. Because it's something like, you need to have a better camera in order to not let your pictures pixelate. If you want to, print it for a bigger canvas. So if you are want to make your sound amplified on a big level, and if it is a loud sound, then you will have to use high power rating amplification. So output is the final thing. The speakers are the final components in the sound system. They convert electrical signals from the amplifier into the acoustic sounds. So you need to think, how this entire process works. This understanding helps a director and an actor a lot. And over the time period, if you keep doing this and keep getting yourself exposed to this process, you will learn this also. It sounds very technical, but it is not once you get used to of it. Because the speakers convert the electrical signals into acoustic sounds. Speakers contain voice coils and cones that work together. Electrical currents from the amplifier interact with the speaker's magnetic field, causing movement in the voice coil and cone. The movement of the cone generates pressure waves recognized as sound. Theatre sound systems offer various speaker types such as the line array, point source, and horn loaded. Different speaker designs include mono, stereo, left, center, right, LCR setups. So this is how your output is created in the sound system. I have tried to bring in a little bit of technical information here. I know that this sounds very oddly placed in the entire arrangement of our discussion, but I am simply giving this idea that theatre is a field where people of so many different tastes and discipline orientation can join. People who are into sciences, they often feel themselves misplaced in theatre because they think that they cannot use their knowledge. This is an example of that kind where they can use their knowledge. So somebody is into engineering, acoustic engineering, sound, physics. It is about physics, sound waves and all. How sound waves are transformed into acoustic sounds. Electrical waves are transformed into acoustic sounds. This knowledge helps to give a better theatre effect. So, and artists who are performing may not know this. So who can help this? Only a person who knows it. So welcome science students. You have a place in theatre as well. And if somebody from sciences is not watching this lecture, I think somebody who's watching it should inform their friends and their family members that theater is a place where even science disciplines have a very direct connection. Implied connections exist in all disciplines. That is a story for some other discussion to take place. Today, this much is final. These are some pictures that I have used, and I hope you have enjoyed this discussion. Thank you very much. I'll meet you in a different lecture.